LinkedIn algorithm. You either love it or you hate it, but either way, it's in charge and you're going to have to learn to live with it. So I just want to give you a couple of tips on how you can make your way around the algorithm and hopefully get your content going as far as possible. So first up, let's understand a little bit about how the algorithm works. If we have got two pieces of content, one is fantastic and the other is pretty rubbish. Basically what happens is it goes out to a test sample of your contacts and your followers on LinkedIn. This great content here gets lots of likes and lots of comments, so LinkedIn goes, let's make it go a little bit further. It continues to get likes and comments and people actually looking at it. And you've got to remember, people on LinkedIn are really passive, so even though you're not getting comments and likes, doesn't mean it's not being consumed. But unlike us, where we only can see the likes and the comments, LinkedIn is looking at the back end and it can see when people are hovering over it, when they're actually reading it. It knows when it's being consumed and when it's not. And it only wants to serve good content to its followers, well, to its platform, because that makes people come back for more and more. So this good bit of content is getting lots of love. It'll go off again. It's getting lots of love again. So it goes further. And LinkedIn will keep testing it through your followers and their followers, because remember, when someone likes and comments on your content, it goes to their connections as well. So as long as that is getting good engagement, it will go. And sometimes you'll get notifications for something you posted days ago, maybe even a week ago, and that's because it's kind of lingering and people are still engaging with it. That is brilliant. Whereas this content over here is really rubbish. Nobody looks at it, they've tested it, and your test pile has gone, nah, scroll past, isn't interested. LinkedIn will just bin it. It doesn't matter, it just will absolutely bin it. So you have got to have good content going out in the first place, because if you don't have good content and it's something that people can actually consume, they either can't understand it, doesn't look appealing, or it's got no relevance, it's just badly formatted, then it doesn't matter how many of these tricks you use, your content's going nowhere. So first up is tagging people. So I think it's really good practice to tag people in your posts, because one, you want to acknowledge if it's their work or something that they've done, or if they're at something with you. So it is good practice to acknowledge them, but it can also harm you. So if you are thinking of tagging people that aren't particularly active on LinkedIn, it could do you more bad than good, it could damage you. So in those cases, you want to actually tag them in the comments, not the body of your content. Now, you still want to draw their attention, so they're still going to get that notification. You're just not damaging it yourself, because what happens is LinkedIn doesn't know that your relationship with that person and thinks that they have just ignored it, or you're spamming them, or they don't want to be part of it. So it will kind of almost blacklist it a little bit. So if you've got it in the body, people ignore it, that's not going to work well. To get around that, you could message, you could send that on to them and just say, hey, I tagged you in this, I'd love if you'd give it some love, whatever you're comfortable saying, and that can help it a little bit as well. But basically, just be very aware that if you're tagging people that aren't going to give your post any love, it could do more harm than good. The other is links that take you off LinkedIn. LinkedIn wants to keep you on the platform. It's the same as the other social media channels. They don't want you to take people to YouTube or to your website. They want to keep them on there. So if possible, add the content natively. So if you're writing a blog piece for your website, repurpose it and stick it on as an article on LinkedIn. And I could go on about how that's there's benefits of that on its own, but for when we're talking about the algorithm right now, that's going to help you. If, however, it's not your video or it's not your content and you're sharing third-party information, so it is a third-party site that you want people to go to, write about it and then just leave a little comment that says link in the comments, and then drop the link in the comments below. It's just, LinkedIn doesn't want you to take people off its platform, so if you can do that, it's just helps slightly. Now, the other thing I had was hashtags. Don't use LinkedIn like Instagram. It doesn't want 20 or 30 hashtags, maximum 6. I try to keep to 3, maximum 4. Make sure they're relevant. Don't put silly hashtags on there that nobody's actually going to look for. You can do a little bit of research about the volume behind the hashtags and whether people are actually using them or not. I'm just looking what else I had. Oh yeah, consistency. I'm going to talk about that as well. Yeah, so hashtags are really important, but not like Instagram. And lastly, be consistent. And your consistent doesn't need to be the same as other people's consistency. If you can post 2 or 3 times a week, that's pretty good. And that doesn't have to just be your content. That can be curating other people's content and sharing theirs as well. When you're sharing stuff, always say why you're sharing it. Don't just randomly share it, because I don't know what side of the fence you're sitting on when you share something. But if you can post 2 or 3 times, that's great. If you go away and you leave it and you don't come back for like a month to actually posting or doing anything on LinkedIn, it will punish you. It'll do that. I mean, you'll be able to get that back again, but it doesn't like it. It doesn't like you taking a break, which is fun. And that is why we have got scheduling tools like Hootsuite, so that we can make sure that we have content going out all the time, anytime, no matter what we're doing. Now, talking about Hootsuite and scheduling tools, love scheduling tools. I use them all the time for Instagram. I basically run all of my Instagram through Later. I don't on LinkedIn. I natively post as much as possible. I will only use a scheduling tool if I really, really have to, because LinkedIn does unofficially punish you for putting things through a third party and for using a scheduling tool. You can't natively schedule on the platform, so yeah, they're not leaving you with much options, but just bear that in mind. You have got that option, so it means that you can post at any time, anywhere, even if you're not really there, but to not use that as your main way of posting on LinkedIn. I hope that was super helpful. If it was, please share this with other people, leave me a comment, tell me what you need to know or what did or didn't make sense, and maybe I can clarify. Yeah, thanks for watching.